watcher. Chuckle, chuckle. Yeah, well, this is pickups number 111, I think. This is actually my third go at doing this. The first one, I had a feeling it was really boring when I was doing it, and I watched it back. And I thought, no, that bored me to tears. Ain't no way that's going to be uploaded. But I've got stuff. I've not bought anything since I did it. I've got some stuff I wanted to show. I wanted to do a pickups video, so I better do it again. Tried doing it again, and the second time round, I had the feeling I was sort of regurgitating what I'd done before, and it felt even more boring. The first one I watched through once. The second go I've not been able to watch through. So it's just sometimes you sort of, or people, anybody who knows, anybody who makes videos will know that sometimes you should lose your mojo. You just go, I had the sort of the want to make a video, but without any sort of proper oomph. So I'm hoping it's different this time. I'm hoping I'm not just regurgitating what I've done before. It's just the last time I felt like I was just bullshitting, and you could smell the bullshit coming off me. It was shocking, but pickups video. I mean, I've taken most of the prices off the games, so I've already done it before, because I like to keep the prices on the games, just because somewhere in the back of my mind, I always think people don't quite believe me when it comes to prices. It's one of my many insecurities. Oh, they don't believe me. They don't believe how much I've paid. Even if it's sort of like a normal price. Particularly bad if I've got a bargain. I think there's people out there who think I'm lying, but so only a few of these have got prices on. Should I have more than that? What am I missing? I'm missing some. Maybe I'm not. No, I'm not actually. I'm not. No, no. All right. Oh, yeah. It's not much old stuff here. The oldest stuff here, I've got a PS2 game. They're just down there. That's why I'm looking down there. PS2 game, 2 Xbox games, a Wii game, PSP, PS3, DS, and a load of Xbox 360 games. The original Xbox games pretty much took a big chunk out of the last few games I've got on my list. Literally got 1 or 2 games on my Xbox list, the original Xbox list. Same with Wii, actually. Literally 1 or 2 more games. So I'm not being so picky when it comes to wanting bargains. I've got a good PS2 game, but that came from eBay, and I paid a little bit more for that because it was, I had some money. Again, we go right back to Christmas, and also I sold off that Hero Quest board game. Plus, I think I sold, what else did I sell off? I sold off something I'd bought in a charity shop. It was a piece of Games Workshop stuff, more Games Workshop stuff, and I got some good money for that. So the PS2 game I'll leave to the end. So if you want to see what it is, you have to wait around. But I mean, I've tried to buy other stuff. It wasn't, but what I've ended up with wasn't right at the top of my list of priorities. But I tried to buy other stuff. I think I've bid on 2 copies of Parodius. I've bid on a copy of Philosoma on the PS1 Parodius. A copy of Vibribbon, a copy of Front Mission on the DS. Kept getting outbid. Really getting on my tits. So, in the end, this PS2 game popped up, and it was a good price, and I thought it was, fairly high up. So. All right. Apologies if I keep looking down. I've made a little list of things I want to talk about because I don't want to stumble over words more than I already do. But yeah. Most of this is, or most of the 360 games from CX credits, so I haven't really spent too much, and a lot from charity shops and out about. But I've got a load of out and about footage. Only one of these was actually caught on video, and I've already shown that piece of footage. It was this copy of Bleach. You've already seen that, so this was actually the one you saw. This turned out to be a keeper because it's better than my original copy. And it's a treasure game, so always find it difficult to pass up treasure games. And I'm not one for full sets or anything, but in an ideal world, I wouldn't mind going for a full set of treasure games, a full release. Imagine that. That'd be a really rock solid selection of games. I'm never going to do it, obviously, but if I was ever one of those people that did full sets of stuff, other than things like RPGs, I suppose you could say that's about as far as I'll get. But this was in a charity shop. That was what you saw on video. That was, I can't remember now, £2. Other thing from a charity shop. Last thing from a charity shop. Yeah, Bust a Move DS. I am pretty much addicted to this. I saw it and I thought, for some reason, I bought it. Initially, I bought it because I thought, it was might be worth trading in for a bit of credit. But no, it's only worth about £5. I think I'd probably get my money back because I paid £2 for it. But with half an idea that I was going to keep it, I would try it out and keep it. But if I didn't like it, then I could, I wouldn't be missing out because I could trade it in. But it turns out it's a keeper. I never really would have thought it would have been a keeper, but because I've never been a massive fan of Bust a Move on the PS1. But this one's got a big sort of it's the control scheme which makes all the difference for me. Sorry. Rather than having the little arm, on the PS1 versions, they've got a little arm that you sort of tilt backwards and forwards. On this one, you've got a little catapult. It's just basically a little line. You drag the stylus on it on the touchscreen and then sort of direct it, and then you've got like a little sort of guiding line which sort of shows you which way you're pointing, and then you let it go. And I'm pretty much hooked. Played a lot. It's pretty much all I've been playing recently. It's one of those games that I can sit and play while I'm watching the telly. So, I don't always concentrate on what I'm watching. I think I was watching Barcelona against Atletico Madrid, and the game sort of passed me by because I was playing this. But it's really addictive, and it's got that sort of Tetris sort of one last go sort of type thing. And in the same way as Tetris, it's got that really annoying. You're sure the game's sort of engineering you to fail, in the way when you play Tetris, and you set the game up, and all you want is a straight. All you want is a straight, and the game will not give you a straight. And then it's up to the game whether you win or lose, isn't it? And it's supposed to be random, but you suspect it isn't. And this has got the same. And it's got to the point. There's always different game modes. There's a puzzle game mode, where you start out with sort of a fixed sort of arrangement of balls, and then it just supposedly gives you random sort of balls to fire at this. Bubble works, Bust a Move works. Sorry, but I'm sure and it's got to the point where some of the game modes I can't even imagine that they're even possible because it sets you up to lose by giving you all the wrong balls, and on the more difficult screens, it just you last about a couple of seconds. The screens get quicker and quicker as it drops down, and then you've got the little type mark that you have to keep above while clearing the screen. It is really good, really good. It's a keeper, but there's always odd things. For some reason, you pick characters. I have no idea what difference characters make to pick. You pick them in any game mode. There's always odd characters, like the two main Bust a Move characters, Bubble characters. There's all these weird, like, sort of martial arts themed characters on. I've spoken too much about Bust the Move DS. Suffice to say, it surprised me. It's a keeper. Right, next two games were going to be bought with other things, but the way things worked out, I only came away with these two on two individual occasions. I'm going to try my hardest to whiz through these, because in the last two versions of this video I've done, the first one was 45 minutes, and the second one was nearly 40 minutes. Fable 2, the Game of the Year edition. I went into game. I'd seen people buying things in game, crazy bargains, like 99p for brand new PS3 and 360 games. I thought, Jesus, why are their prices that good? But they were, and they were legit. They were legit prices. They were sale prices. Had the sales sticker on it, but they were drawn in marker pen, in like Sharpie, 99p. It's weird. And I went into one of my local branches just on the off chance, and I actually saw a copy of Middle Earth: Shadows of Mordor, 99p, brand new, Xbox 360. So I thought, it's not the PS3 or Xbox One versions, but I'm not going to pass it up because I've been an idiot. And it's not a game I've got, and it's a game I wanted to try. Before I took it to the counter, I just thought I'd have a bit of a scan, because I wasn't sure. I thought they might question the price somehow. They might not know why it's priced like that. So I had a quick scan, and I because I was a little bit wary about this sort of 99p game I had, I thought I'll have a look at what else they've got so I can take two things to the counter. And I saw this, and this was $1.99. And I took them both to the counter, and I said to the guy, "Can I have those, please? I'm not sure about the price of that one. It's a bit weird. I don't know why it's priced out like that. Shadows of Mordor." And he checked it out in his system, and he goes, "No, that's correct." He had no idea. That's correct, 99p. He went to look for it, and he had in the meantime he had a bit of a conflab out the back with his mate, sort of mumbling. I couldn't hear what I was saying, but they were mumbling. They were obviously talking about the price of the game. He found this game for me. Then he looked through the whole of these sort of bank of drawers looking for Shadows of Mordor. Couldn't find it. I thought, okay, yeah, can't find it. It reminded me a bit like the time my mum wanted to get some cavity wall insulation, and she got this really good quote from this company. And then in the meantime, they realised that the quote they'd given her was too low and it wasn't worth their while. So when they turned up to do it, they started drilling holes in the wall, and then they spattered all this bollocks about, your wall cavities are too narrow and we can't use this stuff. So obviously to get out of it, and in this Shadows of Mordor, I thought, can't find the game. You want it for yourself, don't you? Or maybe you probably couldn't find it. I shouldn't sort of cast aspersions over the character of the guy who worked in game, but suffice to say, I didn't get my 99p copy of Shadows of Mordor. I just came away with this. I like Fable, the original Fable, so I've not played any of the subsequent Fable games. So, and this being a Game of the Year edition, all the stuff's on disc. So me not being online, really, I thought, yeah, perfect. Similar situation with this. It's pretty high up my list. This was Bureau, just sort of like a sort of middling game, but it's something I wanted to try because I'm interested in the source material. The XCOM universe. Saw this in a branch of cash converters. I had my camera with me at the time, but there was a very statuesque Eastern European. I think she was Polish lady, sort of walking the floor, obviously working there. And so she intimidated me a bit, so I had to put my camera away. And I think I had a feeling she was watching me, because she was keeping an eye out for people who wanted help, wanted serving. So I think she was sort of keeping an eye out for me. Saw this $1.99, and at the same time they had a PS2 game, a copy of Panzer Elite, and I knew that was around about a £10 game, so it was definitely worth having. So, and it was 26p. 26p for a £10 game makes perfect sense to me. And this was in cash converters in Walthamstow. Took my selection to this and this 26p game up to the counter, and she found me the disc for this. Then she opened up the case for a Panzer Elite, and she went, "Oh, it's been nicked." Sorry, it's mine. "Oh, it's been stolen." No, I won't do that again. Don't. Sorry. I apologise to anybody from Eastern Europe who might. Oh, anyway, it's been stolen. So I just came away with this, and I paid for it £2. I think I had £2 coin, and as has happened quite a few times in cash converters in Walthamstow, they will not give you your 1p change. Anybody who's watching my videos for a long time will know. I've had a few occasions where cash converters in Walthamstow will not give you change if it's coppers. They don't carry coppers. Copper coins. They don't. Keep that in mind, anybody who goes into cash converters in Walthamstow. In the past, I've sort of kicked up a fuss. It's principle. I know it's only 1p. It's principle. They're charity shop. I wouldn't mind, but they're a profit-making organisation. So if they do it as many times, that many times, then eventually it's going to make a difference to them, isn't it? And I don't want them to benefit because they're putting a fast one. So I want my 1p. But she was a big statuesque Polish lady, and I got intimidated. Oh no, it's fine. No, I bottled it. But yeah, the bureau. I know it got stick. I think there's probably as much to do with the fact that it's not the XCOM game that people wanted. Obviously, that came later, and this wasn't. This wasn't what people wanted. They wanted more of the same. That fan base was, me included, so. It's a really dedicated, ardent. Is that the right word? Ardent fan base that they just want more of the same, and this wasn't it. This was too much towards the sort of like the popular angle of everything. Eventually, everything will become a third-person or a first-person shooter. I mean, look what's happened to Plants vs Zombies. And what next? Barbie games, first-person shooter. Tetris, first-person shooter. There you go. That'd be quite interesting, actually. I'd like to see someone have a go at that. A Tetris first-person shooter. There is a first-person Tetris, isn't there? Or did I make that up? Either way, it's my idea. Don't anyone nick that. You've heard it here. But anyway, yeah. I think it's not the best, most creative game, but I think it probably got a bit more unfair stick than it deserved because it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't the XCOM game that everyone wanted. It was supposed to be solid, like cover shooter, third-person cover shooter with squad-based tacticals. And it looks decent. I mean, I've heard people say that it's not quite as bad as as been made out. But Sonic and Sega AllStars Racing. This is another $1.99 game from cash converters. Different cash converters. Didn't have my camera with me this time. I bought this with a copy of Mario Kart Wii, which was the same price, and that got traded in to go towards all my CEX credits. I bought this because I had my niece around, and she likes me because I've got games. She's only 4, can't really play them. Only just turned 4 actually, can't play them. But she came round. We played Spyro. She likes Spyro. She's got dragons. We played We Love Katamari. I think that bamboozled her a bit. I think it was a bit too weird, even for a 4-year-old. What else did we play? We played Mario Kart Wii. That was all we played, and she really loved it. Couldn't do it. We lost. We came last. But I had not played Mario Kart Wii in a long time, and it sort of whetted my appetite again for kart races. And when I saw this, I thought, yeah, definitely. It's not as good as Mario Kart Wii, but it is rock solid. Really good, respectable. It's probably slightly more spectacular. But where my preference is for that, even though, I don't know, not much more to say really. But yeah, that was a definite keeper. Right. Next, selections of 6 games. They're all from CEX. Majority CEX credit. I think I probably had about sort of 50 quid, 45, 50 quid's worth of credit. And I've got 6 games out of it, and they're all basically high up on my list, a big chunk out of my 360 list. I won't really try not to say too much about them, otherwise we'll be here for ages. First one, this is the most recent one, or two of the most recent ones, is Imagine the Forsaken Kingdom. It's a third-person fantasy adventure game where you've got you control this character and you command this big Majin. Is that like Japanese for monster? I think it might be. I think this is a bit of a. I don't know. You don't often hear people talking about it. I think years back I saw, who was it? This guy called Retro Sofa. I don't think he makes videos anymore. Years back he made a video about this, and I thought that looks really interesting. And yeah, you control this character, and you sort of give commands to this character, and he fights with you to save the world. But yeah, it was something that sort of caught my interest. So actually, I got a bit lucky because I went into CEX. I had no idea in Watford. Had no idea there's a copy in there, and I thought, oh yeah, wow, £5. I'll have that. I took it to the counter, and he tried to charge me £2 more, and I found out that he adjusted the price to me when I told him that. Obviously, I sort of pointed it out. And he said, well, yeah, we generally we adjust the prices sort of overnight. Prices change sort of daily, and you just got there, got to it before me. So obviously, if the price had said £7 on it, I would have had to pay £7. But I got to the game before they had a chance to change the price label. So it was a bit jammy in that way. He was a chatty bloke, and I felt a bit guilty afterwards. It felt like I was pulling a farce on, but I wasn't. And with that came this. I'm not like a Naruto fan, but I've heard good things about this. I mean, on the back it says the first great Naruto game. But I've heard this sort of spoken about in the terms of a hidden gem. I hate that term. I don't know why. Really don't like it. But sort of open world. Yeah. Sorry, no, I do know much. I do know about it, but it's sort of open world, and you run around sort of the city, and I don't know how it compares to other Naruto games because I've never played any. This will be the first one I've played, but yeah, those two all came at the same time, with partially a bit of CEX credit. Lost train of thought. Like XCOM, like the Bureau, similar situation. This is a game I wanted to play. Probably didn't get that good reviews. I mean, probably 50-60%. Probably a bit sort of run of the mill. Looks like sort of Gears of War, but that sort of third person shooter, but with probably more sort of Dynasty Warriors elements. Like a brawler. So. And I like the Bureau. I'm sort of a fan of the source material, with like that whole sort of Warhammer world. I like that sort of lore. I regularly watch videos of sort of people talking about Warhammer lore. I've just got I go through phases of just sort of like listening to people sort of talk about the backstory behind all the sort of Space Marines chapters and stuff. So again, which was enough for me, and it looks like a solid game. And I think I've watched people put up videos in the past, and I think that looks okay. It doesn't look sort of worth avoiding. And also on top of that was it's £1.50, so it became even more of a no-brainer for me. So right, probably a bit higher up my list. These last four. Well, this is a definite no-brainer. South Park: Stick of Truth, turn-based RPG based in South Park. I don't really need to say much more, do I? So I won't. Yeah, and when that came out, that was a bit of a no-brainer. I just sort of couldn't bring myself to pay full price for it. Another one, Resident Evil Revelations. That was a tenner, I think. This was £8. I very nearly bought this a few months ago, and I sort of ummed and ahed like a twat. I knew this was meant to be like sort of the return to form for the Resident Evil series. Like a twat, I didn't buy it. It was only £6, and then for some reason the price jumped to a tenner. I thought, there's no way I'm paying a tenner if it had been £6 originally. So then I waited and waited, and eventually it came back down to 8. I thought, oh Jesus! I had had this credit burning a hole in my pocket, and I thought, back down to 8. If I, I'll buy it now because it'll probably go back up to 10 rather than down again to 6. And copies were disappearing quickly. Didn't seem to move many in my area. And when I saw one, even though it's got a bit of a knacked case, I've been on the lookout for cases. Jesus, I had no idea the manual was that. Look at that. Shocking. But yeah, and I knew this was a return to form for Resident Evil, so £8. I thought. Super Mario Galaxy 2 wasn't actually on my list, wasn't on my Wii list, because it was so common. I didn't feel the need to. And for that reason, I forgot about it. So, again, with this credit, I think I'd traded in. I'd traded in that, having watched all the way through that copy of High School of the Dead that I found for £1.25. I actually enjoyed it. It was just to enjoy it. I mean, to enjoy it, you have to sort of get past the rampant perviness just everywhere. Just every so often, you get this really quite rock solid sort of zombie killing action and really nicely paced storyline. But then to appease to appease a certain part of the audience, they feel the need to. Imagine The Walking Dead. Imagine you're watching The Walking Dead and Enid every so often, having dispatched a zombie, just goes. That's essentially what you've got with High School of the Dead. But then I enjoyed it regardless, even though I felt totally dirty afterwards, total sort of pervert just even watching it. But. As a bonus, it got me £10 credit, which essentially paid for this. So this was 12 in total. So in the end, it paid off, and I in the interim I enjoyed a pretty pervy anime series. Yeah, and finally for the CEX credit, this. When I wrote up my PS3 list, this was right up there because it's a bit different. It's non-competitive, isn't it? And it's such an antidote to just the Gears of War, the CODs, just the mountain of really properly stupid shooters. You need a bit of this just to take the edge off, don't you? And this was £12. So all of that was generally with CEX credit, and I think that's a really solid selection of titles. Right, last four, only four left. I'll try and whisk through them. They're all from online purchase. Essentially, I treat myself. That's what, when it comes to online purchases, it's basically essentially me treating myself because when it comes to out and about stuff, it's more impulse buys because you have a set idea of what you want, and then you have to make your decision there and then if you want it or not. And with this, you can. What am I talking about? Shut up, Prinny. Basically, a side-scrolling action platformer with slight RPG elements. So you can walk around to towns and stuff, talk to people. Prinnies are in the Disgaea universe. They're like these weird sort of expendable characters that they sort of blow themselves up and stuff like that. And you can use them in sort of special attacks in the sort of the Sky games. They're penguins essentially. The idea with this is that they're rather than the game's supposed to be tough, and I think the game mechanic is that you have this whole selection of Prinnies. Each one is a different character, and they take it in turns. It's rather than like in a normal game, you have lives, and essentially you're playing as the same character every time. Every time a Prinnie dies in this game, it's replaced by another one, because that sort of that sort of ties in with sort of the Prinnie characters, the idea of the sort of expendable penguins. But I think and that sort of aids the idea that because the game's almost intentionally rock solid, like tough game, and then you have this selection of expendable Prinnies. And what did I compare it to? I think I compared it to probably unfairly, not unfairly, probably slightly too fairly to things like Strider or Castlevania. But don't go thinking it's anywhere near like those. But it's that sort of it's on a 2D plane, and you have sort of slightly platformy, slightly action platformy. And it's something I wanted to try. This was actually for $5.99. I think did I buy it on eBay? No, I think I did. Or did I? Did I buy it through Music Magpie? I can't remember. But it was actually on my. I think I bought it on eBay. The price came right down. It was on my watch list for about a month for about 30 quid. I was like, who's going to pay 30 quid for a copy of Prinnie, especially for someone like That's Entertainment, because you don't know what you're getting. And one day I was just browsing through my watch list, and the price had come down to $5.99. I knew that was a good price, so that was worth taking a punt with. And it turns out that it's in nice nick and it's all complete, even though it's the Canadian version because it's got French and English on the back. But I can take a bit of that. I can take that. I'm not going to begrudge the Canadians their their need to have two languages. Part of the last 2 or 3 games on my Xbox list, Alien Hominid. It's like a Metal Slug clone, isn't it, pretty much? It's made by one guy. It's like a Flash game, initially. Not that I know what a Flash game is, I hear that term all the time, and I just sort of laugh along like I know what it is, but in reality I don't. But apparently, and it looks really good. It looks stunning. And I think this was actually through Music Magpie. This was $2.29, and this was one of the last 2 or 3 games on my Xbox list. And I knew that sort of $2.29 was a good price because they sort of fluctuate from sort of 3 to 7 quid, And Silent Hill 2, I did have a copy of this. That was through That's Entertainment. It turned up without a manual, so that got traded in straight away. I bought this because I've got the PS2 version, but apparently the Xbox version is like the equivalent of the director's cut on the PS2, but that version is only available in Platinums, which I don't have Platinums. No Platinums in my collection. So yeah, it was either the Xbox version or nothing really. So, and being the director's cut, I imagine there's extra content. It justifies having this and the PS2 version, the original PS2 version in the cardboard box. But this was $5.99 as well. This is actually an eBay purchase, just a standard eBay purchase through a sort of private seller. It popped up. I'd been looking for it for a while, and I knew what prices were good. It popped up. Pictures looked okay. The manual, everything looked really nice. The manual I thought it was like the light was hitting the edge of the manual because it was sort of white all the way along. I thought, because I've had that before, and I bought something and I thought the manual was actually going to turn up in worse condition than it was, and it turned up, it was spot on, and it was just the light in the photo. But when this turned up, it was the opposite. It was worse than I thought it was. So that's me. I did that tape. Did I commit a faux pas? Don't know. Did I? Yeah, it was worn all the way along. I didn't really understand how, because the rest of the game is spot on, really nice nick. The manual, it's really nothing wrong with it. It's a little bit wrinkly, but somehow it was just located, sort of localized all the way along the spine, and it was all white. And I've committed many a faux pas in repairs of this manual. I blocked it in with a bit of a black Sharpie, put tape on it, and I think it probably will be a keep. I don't know whether it's enough for me to look out for another copy, but I've done it. I tried to do it as neat as I could, and it might yellow in time, but I don't know. I mean, criticise me for doing it. I mean, some people would have left it, but I can't do that. I just need, at least it looks neat. If something looks neat, that's generally enough for me. But I might move it on. I might upgrade it down the line. I don't know. It depends if I've got nothing else on my plate, and it will start. When I'm, like I said, if I've got nothing else on my plate, then it'll start to nag away at me. But at the moment, it's fine. Last one. This is an eBay purchase. This turned up. This is my one and only sort of proper major purchase. This turned up. It's on that homepage. The one with all the pictures, and they just sort of pop up like about 5 minutes after they've been listed. And this was fairly high up my list. Not at the very, very top. I've got when it comes to my game lists, I think I might have explained this in the past. There's a very to very top section, and that section is divided into two, with stars and without stars. And then the sort of underneath there's a subsection which is basically everything I could, I'm a bit 50-50 about. The top section, generally the starry ones. I'm sounding mental. Ones with stars are the affordable ones, the accessible ones. Something like Rule of Rose, which is ridiculously priced, would never get a star because it's slightly sort of fantasy, realm of fantasy. This one didn't have a star because it's generally quite expensive. I do sound mental, don't I? But generally pretty expensive. Game is a bit sort of iffy. But I thought it was sort of a nice novelty because it's a zombie game, appears to be a zombie game, and there's a range of zombie games that none of them are, any great shakes. But I quite like the novelty, the idea of the novelty of having a whole set. You've got like Zombie Virus is at the moment is the only one I've got. Some of them, there's a Realm of the Dead, looks shocking, and another game called Zombie Attack also looks shocking. This one is Zombie Hunters 2. It's part of the Oni Chambara series. I think this is actually Oni Champon. It's D3 Publishing. I think it's the Simple series in Japan. This is D3 Publishing, who also do 505. I think Essential Games came after 505. And for some reason, Essential Games are generally a lot more uncommon because I think they're sort of this is 2007, so it's not that late. But yeah, this is a game that was relatively high on my list, more for its collectability than sort of the quality of the game. But I snapped this one up. It was $29.99. Some people go, "Ooh, ow," but no, I snapped it up. It appeared on the homepage, and I looked on the listing, and it was the English version. If you know about this game, the English version, fully English version, is really uncommon. Most of the copies you see on eBay will be Portuguese, Spanish. So, I lost, my critical faculty went. I sort of got a bit sort of impulsive. That eBay competitive element that kicks in when something's well priced and you have to make a decision like that. That happens. I don't like that. Because you're spending money. Spending money should not, you should never think like that when you're spending money. But in this instance, it is. eBay does weird things to me at least. But yeah, Zombie Hunters. It was a game I wanted, so the conditions were right. And $29.99 plus £2 postage, so £32 is a good price because Portuguese versions go for 45. So I'm not sure. I haven't seen an English version go for a long time, but. Yeah, I'm going to cut it off for 40 minutes. Deep breath. Right. Yeah, thanks for watching. And My out and about videos, I've got a whole load of footage. I might upload them, I don't know, because there aren't many purchases in them. But so, yeah, they might get uploaded, at least the highlights. But yeah, it's up to 40 minutes. Cheers.